Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As I promised, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my favorite 10 staple recipes that I basically make every single week. If you missed my last video, I announced that my new vegan sauce recipe book came out called Let's Get Saucy. It has over 55 vegan sauce recipes, including mac and cheese, vegan Alfredo, cashew sour cream, vegan nacho cheese. There's rice sauces, spud sauces, dessert sauces, tons of salad dressings, and so many vegan sauces, you're just not even gonna know what to do with them. So I will leave the link to that below. I just came out with it this week. It is $10. And if you guys are interested, the link is below. These are the breakfasts that I typically make whenever I'm not making a smoothie. I didn't want to add smoothies into this video just because they're so easy. The first breakfast that I make a lot is chocolate peanut butter oats, and for this recipe I just use 3/4 cup rolled oats, 1.5 cups of water, 1 tablespoon cocoa powder, 1 banana chopped, 1 cup of strawberries, and 2 tablespoons of PB2 thinned out in some water. In a saucepan, just combine your water, oats, banana, and cocoa powder. Cook over medium heat until all the water is absorbed. This takes about 5 to 7 minutes. Once your oats are done, place them in a bowl and top with strawberries and PB2. This is how I make hash browns every single time I make them. I start with 20 to 25 ounces of frozen hash browns. I don't really measure, I just eyeball it. 1/4 of an onion sliced, 1/4 of a bell pepper sliced, or sometimes I'll just use the frozen bell peppers and onions. 1 cup of mushrooms sliced, 1 cup of spinach. And what you want to do first is just take your seasoning. So we have a teaspoon each of onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika. You just want to add that into your shredded hash browns and then mix it together, and then we can just mix in the rest of our ingredients. So before you start this recipe though, you want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. I always use a griddler to make this recipe because we don't have an oven. So if you use a griddler, you want to make sure that you heat up the griddler before you put your hash browns on. But if you're doing it in an oven, you can just place it on a nonstick pan and then leave it in there for 20 to 30 minutes until it's crispy. The key to doing this on a griddler or George Foreman though is you don't want to lift the top up if it's still steaming, or else it's all going to stick to the top. So you want to make sure the hash browns stop steaming before you take them out. This usually takes 20 to 30 minutes. I just put them on a plate and top it with ketchup. So this next recipe is something that I kind of just make all the time and eat as snacks, but I usually will eat it for breakfast if I'm on the go and I just need something quick I can bring with me. You're just going to need 300 grams of dates that you've soaked for an hour and drained, 2 cups of oat bran, 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. You just want to put all of that into your blender and then blend it up until it kind of becomes a dough. And then all you're going to do is take little spoonfuls at a time and roll it into balls. So this will make 15 Bliss balls. Another thing I do with this is I'll add different ingredients into it. So I'll put cinnamon in it, buckwheat groats, sometimes I'll put coconut in it, and just change around the ingredients, and it makes a really good granola base that I'll add to smoothie bowls. But if you're just making the Bliss balls, they will last for a long time in the fridge. You just want to make sure that you store them in an airtight container. One of my favorite easy lunches to make is sushi rolls. I make these almost every single day. It's getting ridiculous. But basically I just use 2 cups of white or brown rice, 1/2 an avocado, 1/4 of an English cucumber sliced, some shredded carrots, sometimes I'll put greens in it, sesame seeds, coconut aminos, and then 2 sheets of nori. So before you make this, you want to place your rice in a bowl for about 10 minutes before to let it cool down, because if you put it on the nori when it's really hot, it usually just makes the nori rip, and it can also make the nori taste a lot fishier if you don't like that fishy taste. And then all you're going to do after that is just lay out your nori sheets and spread the rice evenly over them. Take your avocado and divide it between the two sheets, smash it into the middle of the roll so it stays in there. Add your cucumber, carrots, greens, or whatever you want to put in there. Sometimes I put sweet potato or tofu. And then roll it tightly up like a burrito. You can leave an inch on the ends if you want and get it wet, which can help it stick sometimes, but if you're using really good sticky rice, you don't need to do that. And then all you want to do is just cut it into pieces and sprinkle with sesame seeds. Fries are something I make every single week as well. They're a really easy go-to lunch. And I generally just use about 4 medium pre-steamed russet potatoes. So I'll pre-steam these potatoes in my Instant Pot for 15 minutes and then just leave a huge bowl of pre-cooked potatoes in my fridge. I always like to toss these in garlic powder and a little salt and pepper. And I just do this in my air fryer because, again, we don't have an oven. But when you pre-steam them, you don't need to cook them for very long. So I just put them in the air fryer on 400 degrees for 15 or 20 minutes, and they always get super crispy and perfect. This is just a really easy sweet mustard sauce that I like, made with 2 tablespoons of maple syrup and 1 tablespoon of mustard. And then usually I like to eat fries with greens just because it's a lot more filling. So I will just put this over a bed of spinach and drizzle the dressing on top. If you guys haven't tried this broccoli cheddar soup recipe, it's probably one of the most popular recipes I have ever made. All you're going to need is 3 chopped potatoes, 2 cups of broccoli, and half a cup of nutritional yeast. In your Instant Pot, combine all of your ingredients except the nutritional yeast. For flavor, we're just going to add in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And what we're going to do is just add 2 cups of water and cook this on sealed, high pressure for 15 minutes. Once it's done, you're just going to want to add in your nutritional yeast and lightly blend it with an immersion blender. I like to leave it a little bit chunky. But you can make it really smooth and creamy if you want to. And then I usually just serve this over rice with a little bit of extra nutritional yeast. A really easy dinner that we make pretty often is just pizza. So I like to buy the whole wheat pizza crust from Whole Foods, which are the Engine 2 brand, and then I use their brand of oil-free marinara and just spread that over the pizza crust. Then I just add a cup of frozen mixed veggies, and sometimes I'll just add some mushrooms and spinach to it as well. And then because the crust is preheated, it doesn't take very long to cook. You can just preheat your oven to 400 degrees and bake it for 15 minutes. These falafels take a little bit of time to make, but I like to make a big batch and keep them in the fridge so that I can just throw them in my air fryer and put them over salads during the week. In a skillet over medium heat, we're just going to add in some of the water, our cauliflower, onion, kale, carrots, and cover and cook this for 10 minutes. Then just drain and rinse your garbanzo beans and put them into a food processor, chopping them into small bits. Just make sure that you don't puree them. Add in your vegetables once they're done cooking. And in a large mixing bowl, we're going to add in 1 cup of chickpea flour, 1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Into that, we're going to add our vegetables and roll these into little falafel balls and place on a nonstick griddle and bake until they're brown. If you don't have a griddle, you can bake these in your oven at 350 degrees for 15 or 20 minutes until they're brown. So I just like to put these over salad with the tzatziki dressing from my Let's Get Saucy book. And this makes a really, really delicious salad on the go or just a quick lunch at home. I've been making red lentil chili for a very long time, and this is the recipe that I use most often. So what I do is I take 5 dates that I've soaked in water and just mash them with my mortar and pestle to make a date paste. Add 2 cups of red lentils to my Instant Pot. I add in a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, and then I fill that back up with water and add that in. What I do once a week now to cut down on adding a lot of salt into our meals is I'll just juice an entire head of celery and freeze it. So I just added one of those in there. We're also going to add in 1 red bell pepper that we've chopped really good, and half an onion diced, 3 garlic cloves minced, and then I also like to use this ume plum vinegar. So I add a tablespoon in there because it does have a little bit of this nice salty flavor. Add in 1 tablespoon of paprika and 1 tablespoon of chili powder, and then you're just going to give it a nice stir and cook it for 20 minutes unsealed in your Instant Pot. As you know, I love eating this over rice. I like to finely chop up spinach and mix it in with my rice as well. Add the red lentil chili on top, and then I like to add some homemade hummus. If you didn't see my last video, go check it out. You gotta try this hummus. It takes a couple minutes to make. It's super delicious and really cheap to make at home. Then I just add hot sauce, and this is definitely my favorite meal in the entire world. The last staple meal that we eat all the time is burrito bowls, and these are pretty basic. I just add 3 cups of spring greens that I've finely chopped into the bottom. I always add in a cup or so of rice. You could also add quinoa. Add in some black beans. This is actually leftover black bean soup. Then I add some pico de gallo from my Let's Get Saucy book, some roasted corn, top it with half an avocado and some hot sauce. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any comments or questions down below, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.